All right. Welcome. Welcome to those of you who are showing up live and those of you who will be here in the future. It has been probably about a month since we've done a live stream, and I'm starting a new series called Shift Talk, SHIFT Talk, in honor of my Shift membership for energetic support and for people who are um, uh, metaphysical introverts living in a 3D extroverted world and perhaps even having some uh, some challenges with that. So looks like my Facebook live stream is not going to happen today. That's actually a sign and a symbol to me for something I've been thinking about. It's a message. So, our topic today is actually signs and symbols and synchronicities, I guess. Signs, symbols, and synchronicities that let you know you're on the right track. And I'm just hanging out here, killing time to see if actually anybody is going to show up live. So we will just see if that's going to happen. If it doesn't, I will just go through what I have to talk about today, and then we will adjourn for the weekend. How does that sound? All right. So, signs and symbols and synchronicities that let you know you're on the right track. First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and set the energy for our quantum group, our unseen group, because I know that a lot of people sometimes can't make it live and you come on later. So you are also part of this group, part of this shift talk that we are participating in. And if you do decide to join us later, I'd love to have your comments and questions in the comments box below. So let's go ahead and set the energy. And we're just going to do this by taking a deep breath. And I'm just kind of tuning into how long it has been since I've done a live stream. There's a lot here that's shifting in my life with regard to, or maybe perhaps related to, some of the signs and symbols and synchronicities I've been following. And a lot of times it's a bit to kind of take in and integrate. So if you're feeling that way too, go ahead and just take a deep breath, tune in to your energy and where you are. And we'll set our container, our tent. We will raise our tent today by setting the stakes in the north, the south, the east, and the west. And we're raising our tent, coming into circle virtually at whatever time that you are joining us, whether it's live or in the future. Just tune into your heart space as we move into this virtual circle together. And intend to come in with a clear heart, a receptive heart, an open heart. And imagine that we are all sitting here inside of our tent together. And around us are our unseen helpers, guides, angels, and our higher selves coming in from, I always like to see our higher self energy coming in from the top and contributing to the wisdom of this conversation. I also ask that any others who have in the unseen world who have um, expert guidance or something uh, positive and aligned with love, light, and truth, that they come in as well if they are here to contribute to our topic today. So, as we do this, let's go ahead and open our eyes and come on in. Okay, so signs, symbols, and synchronicities that let you know you're on the right track. This is a huge topic, and as I was feeling into it and preparing for it, I realized that this is something that will probably need to be unpacked over time. And I may or may not unpack it for you or help you unpack it, because one of the things that I'm shifting into is really feeling into into at a deeper level what I am being invited out into, what I'm being supported for, and what is being called out of me. So this particular topic came as a result of some work that I was doing with our members of the shift membership, where I gave them a transmission for April, a channel transmission for April, and what came through was the energy of Merlin and this whole message around seeing clearly, accepting what is, seeing what your responsibility is in it, and with that came like a talisman, which hold on, I'll show you. I'll show you the talisman. Um, oh, well, my talisman. Everybody has a different talisman, and I've been really excited to see what other people are having as their making creating as their talismans or identifying. And then there's a talisman charger. So that's what came through. This is my talisman. So it's been a touchstone for my own meditations, and this is how, when I was meditating on, well, what's our next touch point with a live stream, the topic of signs and symbols and synchronicities came up, and it I think it came up because of the real clarity that I'm getting that the universe is always talking to us. Whether you interpret that as your higher self, your guide team, your subconscious mind, your God, nature, it everything is always talking to us because we are an integral part of existence, right? Whether we're looking at our existence on the physical plane or the emotional plane, the spiritual plane, we are an integral part of it. And with that, there is a language that is uh, part of our communication, our dance with what I'm going to call the universe, including, which for me includes all things, right? Other people, nature, our physical existence, the mental plane, the emotional plane, our spiritual connection. All of that is what I'm calling the universe. So the universe is always speaking to us in a language that isn't necessarily the type of language that maybe we're having here, although that could be part of it. Um, it speaks to us in many ways. So when I was kind of distilling down this topic and realizing how big it is, I realized that what I can probably realistically talk about today is like the different signs or the different ways that the universe speaks to us. Um, and what you can begin to do with that, or how you can begin to work with that. So we're talking about the different ways that the universe speaks to us, through signs, symbols, and synchronicities that are common. And I'd like to know from you, what signs, symbols, and synchronicities have you recently experienced? And you can put that in the comments below. So I'm just going to talk about a few of the ways, the language of synchronicities, signs, and symbols, the language of the universe. And I'm going to start this out by saying that the language of the universe is often very abstract. Um, it is often very fluid. It, in a sense, when we're talking about synchronicities, it can come out of the blue where, something in our non-physical experience all of a sudden shows itself in some sort of a physical way that has meaning to us. So it's important to understand where these little points of guidance can come from. And then you can begin to decipher what they mean. So everybody's meaning of the signs that you get, the symbols that you see, the synchronicities that you experience are individual to you, but they also have this overarching collective meaning. Like we've all collectively decided that, you know, um, a certain number means something. But for you individually, you can distill that down and you may have a more refined meaning or a different meaning. So I'm saying this because what I want you to understand is that it's up to you to cultivate your own language with the universe, with your guides, with your angels, with your human design chart. Even though that's one thing I wanted to bring out is even the human design chart with all of its numbers and colors and shapes and astrological glyphs. This is like the ultimate in uh, a language in which the mechanics of the universe can be interpreted. So, you know, there and this language was given to Ra Uruhu, and he interpreted it. And that can be a starting point for you to begin to understand this language of how your um, uh, energy system, your design actually works when you are living your life in this form. So I wanted to make that point. However, how that works, using the human design chart as an example of signs, symbols, and maybe not synchronicities, but signs and symbols. How that works is kind of up to you. How you live it out is kind of up to you. So you have choices in this. And sometimes I work with people, or I've been around people, metaphysical people, uh, um, spiritual people who are spiritually awakening, who see these signs and symbols, and they think that it's God or the universe telling them to do something. And what I want to kind of clue you into is that these are things that kind of let you know, like little breadcrumbs that let you know that you're on the track of something, probably an intention that you set or a question that you asked. And these signs and symbols do not have any power over you because you're the one who's interpreting them. So don't give your power away and think that you have to do something because you saw this particular sign or symbol. You Because what can really happen here is the ego mind can take over when you're attached to a certain meaning. So I want to invite you, especially if you're new to interpreting signs and symbols and new to learning about your language, the language that you use to converse with the universe. I want to remind you that uh, the universe may be speaking, but you have the choice of how and when to act. Like, you have this human design chart, and there's a strategy and authority that's part of the system of human design that is yours. but you have the choice of whether or not you're going to do that, right? And it's even more subtle. Like, I want to go back to strategy and authority, because your strategy and authority when it comes to like communicating and listening and deciphering the signs and symbols that are coming to you from the universe, your strategy and authority really is can be very is the most instrumental tool that you have to figure out or to know when to act and how to take action. And if you're not quite sure about strategy and authority, contact me. I do readings. We can figure that out if you haven't been able to decipher that or feel that in your body. When it comes to you actually putting yourself into action based on the signs and symbols and the messages that you're getting, uh, it is strategy and authority can really help you to weed out and discern what those actions are and when you need to take them in the 3D world. Okay, and there are all kinds of nuances past your strategy and authority, and that's where that language, when it's not an action, when it's an internal action or something that doesn't require, let's say for example you're a projector, it doesn't require an invitation. That's where this subtle language that you need to decipher for yourself is really going to assist you in staying healthy, being in the right place at the right time, knowing, you know, uh, what's the next thing you need to do for yourself to heal, those kinds of things. So, let's talk about some of the ways that the universe speaks to us through signs and symbols. One of the most popular ways, easy ways that you can get messages are through numbers, like repeating numbers. So numbers can come in like 333, 222, all kinds of different numbers, right? And I often dream about numbers. And numbers are really easy to decipher or to kind of get a handle on or understand, because there's all kinds of stuff on Google about, if you want to Google it or search it on the internet about angel numbers, and it is the fundamental numbers are the fundamental mathematics, and numbers are the fundamental language of the universe, and you can look at that in terms of sacred geometry. Shapes are another way, geometrical shapes are another way where you can converse with the universe. uh, Another part of the language has to do with nature and animals. And a lot of people will see things like, you know, well, I'll use my example. Turkeys have been showing up, and this is the season for turkeys to show up in our field, and we've had like dozens and dozens of turkeys, and I had to stop and kind of look up the meaning, the spiritual meaning of turkeys, and it's all about abundance and those kinds of things. So, sometimes you may see an animal that seems out of place, or you may see a lot of them over a period of time, or one just seems to kind of follow you, and that may be one of those things where your antenna goes up and you go, oh, I wonder what this means. Now, you know this may lead you into contemplation about a certain theme, or it may lead you into maybe meditation about, that where you go in and do some kind of an internal shamanic journey to connect more deeply to this particular animal, or numbers, or whatever the sign or symbol is. And I'd love to know, what signs and symbols tend to come to you, and what do they mean for you? So put that in the comments. And as we go through this, if you're remembering, or if you're experiencing or have been experiencing these kinds of things in your life that you've been paying attention to, go ahead and put that in the chat or in the comments. So another signs and symbols can also come through like music and sound and frequency. Like how many times have you actually maybe been thinking of someone and a piece of music came on that was maybe your song, or it brought up a memory, or there's or maybe you've had a loved one pass away, and then you have been thinking about that person, and here comes their song. And here's what something that happens a lot with people who are grieving or thinking about loved ones who've passed on. A lot of times, at least for me, and I know a lot of my friends and colleagues and whoever, a lot of times get feathers as a symbol that their loved one is close by, or that's how it's interpreted, right? A white feather a lot of times, or maybe a butterfly, or the favorite bird, or the favorite animal that their loved one had. That's a way that the universe is communicating to you, that may have meaning to you and bring you some comfort. Another uh, sign or symbol, or another way that signs and symbols can come to you, is through dream messages. So I'd love to know how many of you are like prolific dreamers. And this is a whole topic in itself, because dreaming is actually, dreams have different meanings. Like, sometimes there are dreams that are dreams where we're just dumping our subconscious, right? Sometimes you're having dreams that are actual messages, that have a lot of symbology and signs and colors, and did I put colors on here? Colors is another way that the universe talks to us. Uh, you know, so it's a whole other thing. Sometimes you're dreaming because you're clearing karma. So, so that's a whole I love dream interpretation, and I think it's a way that the universe actually speaks to me. Hi, is that Inez Mary? Innes Mary, welcome. Hello, hello, Portugal. Yeah, so dreaming is a way that um, the universe speaks to me a lot, and there have been times in my life when I've had a lot of prophetic dreams. Um, and I'll tell you one that that happened when I was in the Navy and stationed in Japan years and years, decades and decades ago. And it was a time when, if you don't know, my husband was my childhood sweetheart, but we only got together about 10 years ago. So we spent 30 years apart, almost 30 years apart. And for much of that 30 years, back in my early 20s, I was kind of hiding out. And we have a mutual friend, um, a childhood friend, that who is was my best friend in childhood. And when I was in Japan, she would write me. That was back in the days before the internet, so we would write each other. And I was having all kinds of really meaningful dreams, full of symbols and things that were alluding to the disruption, the coming disruption, and the shakeup in my life. And there was a lot going on there, that I could probably write a book about. But it was my first big spiritual awakening, and I was on the cusp of it. So I was having all of these dreams, and I was kind of tuned in and connected to a lot of non-physical energy that was guiding me. And in this, it was like, the dreaming kept coming. And one night I had a dream that my now husband, that I was avoiding then, uh, was looking for me, and he was looking for me all through Japan. So, and it was like we were on this map in my dream. I could see it, and he was looking for me, but I wasn't quite where he was looking. And the next day, I got a letter from my best girlfriend, and she was catching me up on what was going on in her life, and then as a PS, she said, "I hope you don't mind, but I gave Robert Freshy, who is my husband, that's my husband's name, I gave him your address." So it was like, "Oh, I'm tapped in here." And so that's an example of how, how a dream can be prophetic. Um, and again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of dreams. If you want to know more about that and the different types of messages or the different types of dreams that you can have and what they're about, we could do an entire class on that. My grandmother and I used to, when I was a little girl, we used to sit at the breakfast table in the morning and talk about our dreams, and we would decipher our dreams. And this is, I'm not trained in dream interpretation, but I have always been able to interpret at least my dreams. And if that's a thing that interests you, let me know, and we'll figure out. We'll go a little bit deeper into that rabbit hole. So onward with this list of signs and symbols that let you know you're on the right track. Another way that the universe speaks to you is through it's through words and messages. I've heard of people having looking for answers in a bookstore and having books fall off the shelf. It can also be through overhearing a conversation. That's called a cledon, where you're overhearing a conversation that you're not in, or you hear some words or a sentence that you're not that maybe where you're not involved in the conversation, but it's a message that kind of lights you up and you know it's for you. Words, messages, um, and then there's like energy behind words as well is something that is another way that the universe speaks to you. Have you ever had a conversation with someone where maybe it looked like small talk? Maybe it was just a few sentences, but you walked away from that conversation feeling as though something was conveyed to you that was very, very important that really didn't have words to it. So be aware of that can happen at times. That's something that's happening through that as I'm deciphering what's the transmissions that are coming through for the people in the shift membership. That's something that I'm really becoming attuned to, because a lot of times, well, what I'm doing is I'm being the vessel for words, but I'm also very highly aware that the words are just the delivery device for what's in them, for the frequency that's behind them. Um, so it's something that is worth considering. Like, especially if you feel that you have that kind of an ability to sort of channel through wisdom, or, if you've ever said anything that you kind after you said it, it was so brilliant that you look behind you to see to see who said that. Sometimes that kind of channeling that we all have the capacity to do carries something in it that is way more powerful and profound than the actual verbal words that come out of your mouth. Okay, so I have a friend that every night she dreams, and her dreams are very weird, but I usually don't remember my dreams. So, yeah, remembering, you can remember your dreams. It takes practice. Okay. And sometimes it has to do with transits and things like that as well. Astrological transits. Sometimes you're more open, and at other times you're not, so yeah. So some people can remember them. I have a friend who She'll bring over her dream journal, and that's like her direct line to the universe, and she'll interpret all the symbols and the signs and all of that. When I dream, a lot of times I'll sit, if it seems significant, I will, especially if it's disturbing, I'll sit with my in my meditation and call in my guide team and just kind of ask, what is this dream about? And sometimes, it will be about, like, I resolve something through that dream that I don't need to resolve in real life because we resolve the energy. Sometimes it's a healing. Sometimes it's a huge message. Sometimes it's just a data dump. And if it is a message, I'll sit with it, and I will look up the symbols, especially, paying attention to numbers and colors and uh how I felt. Like, that's a real, with any of these signs and symbols, these so-called signs and symbols, they are not signs and symbols until you recognize them as such. And one of the ways that you're going to recognize them is through repetition. So if you don't catch a sign or a symbol or a piece of guidance from the universe the first time, it's going to repeat itself. And anything that repeats itself, an event, even like deja vu, it can be like that. Numbers that repeat themselves. Um, animals that continue to show up. The same animal continues to show up in your yard. Uh, you know, those those are things that if you are cluing into or noticing that something is repeating itself, it's probably a sign or a symbol from the universe. And it may be something worth delving into to understand a little more deeply. What is the message here for me? Now, again, you have the choice of what you do with that message. You know, you have the choice of how you take that in, and whether or not it's time to act on that. And you'll know that through potentially your strategy and authority, or you'll know that through whatever else comes along that is just perfect to facilitate the opportunity for whatever type of energy you have. Um, However, you can be clued in and know that you're following the breadcrumbs and you're on the right track. So, synchronicities, let's talk about that for a minute, because synchronicities are one of these are experiences where a lot of times they come so out of the blue that you can't help but pay attention to them. And it could be, something where you have a brief conversation with someone, and you mention something that you're doing or you want to do, and then maybe this is a stranger that you ran into, and then all of a sudden they facilitate an opportunity for you to be able to fulfill that dream. You know, or it could be things like thinking of someone that you hadn't heard from in years and then getting a phone call. And, there's no way that they would have known that you were thinking about them. And maybe you didn't even have their phone number, or maybe you didn't know they had yours. And then they somehow found you, and there's a phone call. Or you've been wanting, sometimes this has happened to me where I've been wanting to reconnect with someone and I've lost track of them, and then I'll meet someone else who is friends with that person that I didn't know before, and then we're reconnected again. So those are some synchronicities, and I'd love to know what kind of synchronicities you've had that have really caught your attention. So feel free to share those with me. Um, and again, synchronicities is a whole other topic and a deep um, it can be a deep exploration. So I just want to kind of scratch the surface today to talk about or to include this as part of how the universe speaks to you through signs and symbols. um you know uh, a sign, a lot of times people who experience these out of the blue synchronicities will pay attention, like, and they'll say, oh, that's a sign from the universe. Now again, the timing of how you take the action, or whether it's correct for you to take action on it at that time, depends on what's going on in your form, and how you're hardwired to be your own authority. So um, yeah, so let's see, where are we with this? I'm just looking at my notes. Okay. So how do we get in touch with paying attention to signs and symbols? How do we start to develop our own individual language with the universe, with the unseen forces in our lives? The number one thing that really helps with this is to slow yourself down so that you can begin to pay better attention to your now moment. So that could look like meditation. It can look like mindfulness practices. It could look like sitting in a, a tub of warm, soothing water. you know, it can look like being in nature. It can look like gardening in a mindful way where you're really paying attention to what you're doing, and how the soil feels. It can just look like having a cup of coffee on your porch in the morning and watching the world go by. Anything that helps you to slow down, to in a sense synchronize with your natural rhythm. And when I say that, I'm thinking also like some people have a faster rhythm, like some manifesting generators, for instance, have a faster rhythm. But there's also a slower kind of a rhythm that happens when there's no response, like when there's no sacral response. And I'm getting into human design there, but for anyone who's a manifesting generator, I think you kind of understand what I mean. Is there are times when you're dancing with the universe where your rhythm is kind of sped up because your energy is part of the movement of the train of events, right? And then there are times of stillness where your rhythm, your natural rhythm, is very much, um, it can be very, very still or slow. So, getting in tune with the present moment and being in the flow of, or synchronizing and feeling your natural rhythm, is what is going to um, bring you into a place where you can truly see what's coming at you and feel into how the universe is speaking to you. And from this place of attention in alignment with your rhythm, you are going to be able to decipher what exactly is being communicated through these signs and symbols. So, oh, wow, there's a lot here that you have, Inez Marie, that you're, yeah, Inez, yes, that's great. Inez Marie, Inez Mary, Inez Mary. I want to call you Inez Marie for some reason. Let's see, what else are you saying here? You've been watching the series Touch, and talks about signs and synchronicities and how we are all connected. You've watched the first time in 2013, and you were in your numerology year 7, and now you realize that 2022 is also your personal year 7. Interesting. What a synchronicity there. And you're a manifesting generator. So, yeah, so there are no coincidences, and I think your participation in this live stream has probably highlighted some of the little signs that the universe is giving us, that there are synchronicities all around us. There, that we are all connected in a certain way, and it's showing us kind of how we are connected and what kind of meaning that has for you. And I'd love to know, Inez Mary, about your rhythm as a manifesting generator. If you're feeling like, since I mentioned that, if you're feeling like when there is nothing to respond to with your sacral, if your rhythm is a little bit different. So um, I'd love to know that. I know that my observation of manifesting generators is that it's not necessarily a go, go, go all the time, but there's something, if there's nothing to respond to, it's almost like uh, some manifesting generators can be like projectors in a sense. Of being a little bit more laid back, a little bit more relaxed and receptive. So, anyway, that may be a little bit much to unpack here, but take it back. Let me know. Um, yeah. So, I am thinking that that is it for today in terms of signs and symbols from the universe. Um, let me feel in here. Hmm. Oh, I've missed one, and actually, I missed a couple of signs and ways that the universe can speak to us, and one is through oracle cards and tarot, and and eventually I'm going to do an entire, I don't know, I might do a course on how to read cards in a way that lets you know what's really in your psyche. But this is a way that you can work with the energies of the universe. The other one is colors, and I love these the secret language of color cards. And that's when I closed my eyes, that's what I saw, that I forgot to talk about colors and the frequency of colors. Again, that's another whole language of energy, and that can bring forth healing. And I was shown green. So the universe is speaking to me about green, and I'm wondering if I'm going to pull a green card, because all of a sudden I just started shuffling cards. So signs and symbols can come to you through cards, through something that you read in a book. Those of you who are into Richard Rudd's Gene Keys book know that in his guidance about how you can possibly use the book, even beyond even before you get to like working his golden path system, you can just open the book and get a message, and it will be something for you to contemplate. Um, and in the sense of color, color is a language that heals, that adjusts your vibration, that shows you. I didn't. I got 2 cards, okay. That's why I'm into green. And it can show you kind of where you are and what you can work with to sort of shift things. And I'm going to I think I put a link to the Shift membership, but I work a lot. I've been working a lot with colors. I'm finding that colors are really important in interpreting what's coming through me. Um Inez Mary, yes, I'm much more receptive when I don't have anything to respond to. Actually, through my life, I usually wait for a sign or a symbol to respond. Yeah, waiting to respond, waiting for that tangible sign and symbol to show up. So, the sign and symbol that I got when I tuned in and I asked if there was anything else was I was shown my color cards, and I was shown the color green. And I'm going to pass this on to you because I did not get green. I was wondering if I would get the green card, but I got cyan, which is a shade of blue, and yellow. So, so those of you who mix colors, you know what this means, right? Blue and yellow make green. Um, so the message from the universe with regard to how do you begin to forge a language to create a richer, deeper language with the signs and symbols that are coming to you is to, number one, purify your body. um, and for those of you who are really into the practice of color healing, you can use this color yellow by wearing it, by being out in the sun, by having yellow flowers around you, lemons. And okay, here's a synchronicity. Last night I stumbled upon a video about how to clear your space with lemons. So, and that lemons, because of their frequency and their vibration, when your space is like purified and clear, your lemons will age without having dark spots or mold or anything like that. At least that's what the guy said. And the other message is to build your confidence. So I'm not going to read out of the book because I'm just bringing through what I'm getting here. Um, you by having a conscious conversation with the universe where you are receptive and working with that back and forth language, and part of that is like when you're sitting in those places of receptivity, when you're in your slower rhythms and you're in the present moment, you can always consciously ask to be shown the meaning of a sign or a symbol, or you can ask to be shown a sign or a symbol, right? And this, as you pay attention to that and maybe even document that, you will develop your language capacity with the universe, with the unseen forces in your life, the benevolent unseen forces who are supporting you on your path. You will develop that confidence, and you will be able, if you purify your body, if you stay clean, you stay clear, you synchronize with your natural rhythm so that you don't burn yourself out, so that you're not too sluggish, whatever, however that works for you, then um, you will be more receptive and more of a clear channel for the symbols that are coming to you, the signs and the symbols that are coming to you, and you'll be able to know what they're about more easily. You'll be able to see them more clearly. And as you work with them, you will build your confidence. So I think that's it now. All right. So I opened the circle. I need to close the circle. Want to thank the frequencies and the streams of consciousness that have come through in color. And all of our unseen helpers and our higher selves who are here now and in the quantum field. I want to express gratitude for everyone who joins us in our circle today and beyond. And with that, we are closing up our tent. We're pulling up the stakes and we are rolling up our tent until the next time. And I invite you to sit with this and let me know in the comments. You can even use this particular video to document in the comments what signs and symbols are coming to you and how you're interpreting them. But oh, I forgot. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button. It helps with the to get the video out there. If you're interested in getting, if you're an, a metaphysical introvert who's struggling with the 3D world, and you would like to have energetic support for your personal life shifts, I invite you to check my shift membership out, and that link is down below. So, or it's in the description. So, thank you for joining me. And thank you, Inez Mary, for being an active participant. I know there's someone else here who's been coming in and out, or several people, but thank you so much for anchoring this time with me. I appreciate your presence, and I appreciate the presence of everyone who is going to watch this moving forward, or who has come in and out and contributed your energy and focus. Thank you. So have a great weekend, and until the next time, be well.